Hi guys, welcome back to today's video. My name is Kat here and I am sharing with you my birth story of my second daughter. Her name is Remy Lynn. So I'm super excited. I gave birth to her on June 1st. My due date was June 9th, so I gave birth to her a little over a week early, which I was really hoping that I would have a May 31st baby, but I guess even with my daughter, my first daughter, Logan, I wanted to have her on the 13th. I had her on the 14th, which she was due on her actual birthday or due date. So everyone tells me that whatever day I want my next baby to be born on, I have to keep saying the day before so that they're born like that day, you know? So, but yeah, I wrote down like on here the times that we went through everything. So I'm just gonna be looking at this just to, just for reference. I had like a feeling the night before that I was probably gonna go into labor. I just had like a weird gut feeling. And I don't know, something about it, like I just felt like we were gonna go into labor or I was gonna like have her the next day. But I don't know, you kind of like the weeks leading up to when you're gonna like actually have your baby, you just like are always anticipating, you're always trying to like see if like every little sign is like something that's like leading to labor. But I hadn't like really had like a bunch of things happening. Like I don't remember losing my mucus plug. When I think about it, maybe I did, but I don't quite like thinking that it was like as prominent as I remembered with Logan. But I think, I don't know. But we went to sleep around 1 or 1:30 because we, what day of the week was, oh yeah, so I gave birth to her on a Wednesday. And Preston and I were just like cleaning the house and we like, I really wanted my car to be clean and we were having some problems with our car. So the 31st, we finally got our car, got it all situated. Preston like cleaned the house the 2 days before and just like everything about it felt good. Like our house felt like it was ready. My car felt like it was ready. Like just everything felt like it was in place. And it hadn't quite felt like that prior, even though I had been working so hard to get the house like where I wanted it to be. Mainly because I just didn't want to have to worry about our house and cleaning it as much as we needed to clean it, just enjoying our newborn. But that night, my mom watched my daughter, mainly because she just like, my daughter sleeps over at my parents' house often, and my daughter slept there that night. And I laid her down in the bed and I was singing her songs, and normally like I just leave and my mom puts her down to sleep. But I told my mom, which was kind of like the deal, like if she stays there, because my daughter really wanted to stay there, then I would put her down for bed, and I hardly ever do that at my parents' house. But my mom needed to work, so she's like, okay, like she can sleep over. And so I laid her down with her. I sang her favorite song, which is Five Little Ducks. That's like our sleep time song. I held her hand. She says, "Mommy, you hold two hands." So I like lay there with two hands, and it was just like a perfect moment that I had with her. And it felt like the best way to end our, I don't know why I'm so emotional, our like chapter with it just being her, you know, especially just like it being the two of us. Because if you don't know, my daughter is from my previous marriage, and so I don't know, it was just like a lot of chapters closing, but obviously like a great one opening and starting, and but it was just like a nice way to just like have that with her before, you know, now there's always going to be the two of them and hopefully more kids, like the 3 or 4 of them, whatever. But at around 2:30 I woke up and at around 2:30 I think I started feeling contractions. I started feeling contractions and I was like kind of sleeping through it, but I was kind of like awake and just like that uncomfortable feeling of like, I don't know, like you're just, it wasn't super painful, but it definitely was like stronger than other contractions that I was having. Because with this pregnancy, I had a lot more Braxton Hicks than I had with my last pregnancy. And I don't even think at the end I was having Braxton Hicks. I think I was just having contractions. At around 3:15, I got up and I was like bouncing on my ball. Like I was like so uncomfortable. I was bouncing, I was trying to do my breathing, and then I went and I took a bath. And my stomach was like super upset at the time too, so I was just like trying to like figure out what I was feeling. Like I couldn't tell if I was in labor. I kind of felt like I was, but I kind of like, I don't know. It was just like I didn't know what I was feeling. I got in the bath and it felt so much better. So I laid in there for a little bit. I got back out without my little ball, and Preston came out at like 4 o'clock and he was like, "What is happening?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm in labor. I think I am, but I don't know." And he knew right away when he walked out that I was in labor because he's like, "It's 4 o'clock and she's bouncing on a ball," you know? I was like, "Just go back to sleep," because I was like, we had gotten only a few hours of sleep, and I like, if I was in labor, I needed him to be awake, like aware of what was happening. So I was like, just go back. And at this point I was just like trying to like get comfortable, and I had all these plans. I really wanted to watch the season finale of Grey's Anatomy, the series finale of This Is Us, and it came out like the week prior, or week prior, so I was like saving it all up so that when I was in labor I could use that as like a distraction. But everything happened too fast and I was not able to do that. So while he was asleep, I took 2 more baths, total of 3 baths, and at around 6:30 I had received a phone call from my second mom, and she was like asking for more of an update because I had texted her at like 4 o'clock, like, "I think I'm in labor," and she's on a different island, so she was planning on coming down to like visit us the day before my due date, which is the 8th, which she did come down on the 8th, but she missed the delivery, which was fine. But she was there for my daughter's first one, so that was a little bit hard for her. But she waited till a more like appropriate time to call me in case I went back to sleep and she didn't want to wake me up. But she's like, "The way that you're talking," because I could not talk through my contractions, she, you know, was like, "Oh, you should go to the hospital." And I was like, "Oh, let me call my OB." So like at the end of the phone call, I called my doctor and she's like, "Okay, you need to go to the hospital." That was at 6:45, or like 6:47 to be exact. She said I should go to the hospital. She's like, you can't talk through your contractions. You sound like you're like far along. And I was like, with my daughter, sorry, I have 2 daughters now. With Logan, I was in labor. Well, from labor to delivery, it was 36 hours. So I was expecting like a long delivery and labor like that. But at this point, it was only like 4 hours. Preston had laid in my daughter's room because that's like the room next to the bath, and I was still in the bath. I took all my phone calls in the bath because it was just the most comfortable place to be. And with Logan, I went to the hospital and they were like, you know, telling me that I wasn't far along enough, like with being dilated or with my dilation, that I was gonna have to go home. And I did not want to do that because it was just so uncomfortable doing anything that I did not want to get in the car and drive 30 minutes just for them to tell me to go right back and then do that all over again, you know? But we got in the car at 7:10 and we got to the hospital closer to like 8 o'clock. They had us check in like the radiology section. So I was like having contractions, trying to talk to the lady, and all these people who are like sitting there trying to get their like, you know, wait to get their x-rays or like watching me because I'm like actively in labor, like fully in labor. At that point it had been a little less than 5 or maybe about 5 hours. I walked my butt all the way up to labor and delivery, which in our hospital is on the 3rd floor. I mean, I went in the elevator, but I like walked, you know, I walked into the hospital, walked to the elevator, went up, walked from the elevator, and, you know, we got checked in. The nurse checked my cervix and I was 8 centimeters dilated. I asked for an epidural and she's like, "You might be too far. I don't know if we can do that." Up to that point, I was probably gonna try to do a natural birth, but at that point I was like, my back hurts so badly, which with Logan I also had back labor. I have since learned that there are exercises and things that you can do during your pregnancy to kind of change the baby's the way the baby's facing, so they're not putting as much pressure on your back, which I did not know about. But my back, I was so nauseous. I was so nauseous, so nauseous. I could not move. And that paired with my back pain, I couldn't do it. I just needed something to like allow me to sleep a little bit. Had I gotten like a night's rest at this point, right, I had only gotten like 2 hours of sleep, maybe 2 hours. So I was exhausted. I had no energy before even getting to the hospital. I was hungry. I had no sleep. I was hungry. I was nauseous, and my back hurt. And like, had any of those factors not been there, I probably would have tried to do a natural birth, because like the actual contractions, like they sucked, but I was fine. It was just like I didn't have energy to like do anything. So I was like, I need something to help me go to sleep. And I can't like do that with all of these factors and whatever. But you know, they were super proactive. I had a bunch of nurses. I think normally you have one or two. Sorry, I'm gonna get my cat. They're on the screen. Oh wait, no, they're fine. But normally I think you have like one or two nurses who do your admissions and your, you know, the whole thing. But I had like 4 or 5 nurses, and they were like running, trying to do everything. Like, oh, what do you need me to do? Do you want me to do this paperwork? Do you want me to do this? Scan this, scan that, whatever. And they were trying their hardest so that I could get my epidural. They were so sweet. I had loved every single one of my nurses. They were all amazing. So yeah, we got that. The anesthesiologist finally came in, and she was so rude. Like, everyone there except for her were amazing. They were great. She was rude. She was like, oh yeah, I don't even know if I can do this because you waited too long. Like, you waited too long to come in, and you're too far along. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Like, if you can't do it, then don't do it. Like, I'm okay. It sucks. I will be able to do it. Like, I have no choice, you know? And so I was trying to be like really nice, and I was laying down, and I was trying to respond to her, and she finally was able to do the epidural. I lay down. I was like contracting during when they were trying to put the epidural in, and she's like, this is not ideal, but you need to hold still. She's like, you cannot move. And I was having like the worst contraction during my epidural. I thought I did great, you know, so I was laying down waiting for it to work. And because of how far along I was, she's like, you probably are gonna feel a lot because, stop it, ow. She's like, you're probably gonna feel a lot of it because you don't have as much time to like let it really like sink into your body, which was understandable. I understood that. And she was like putting an ice cube on my body to like see if I could feel it. Like, was it cold or could I just feel it? You know, was it like pressure? And so I guess I was laying down, my eyes closed, I looked like I was sleeping, and I was trying to respond to her, trying my absolute hardest to respond to her, and still contracting, right? I could still feel everything. I guess I said the wrong thing, like, no, yes, I can't feel it. And then after, when she tried it again, I said I could feel it. She's like, well, you just said that you didn't feel it. And I was like, well, I'm so sorry. I don't remember saying that. I think that I was just probably having a contraction, and I just didn't realize what you were asking me. And she's like, well, you just said that you couldn't feel it. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I was trying to like be really nice and like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I understood the question properly. It like still hurts. I'm sorry. And she's like, well, you just said, she said it to me like 5 times. Well, you just said that you couldn't feel it. And she like was like, oh. I went back and was trying to like re-examine me, and like eventually like I could still feel my legs, but I knew that was like the best I was gonna get. But I ended up like really not feeling a lot of it. My parents came in at around 11:30. Wait, no, 11:15. The nurses said at 11:30 they were gonna call the doctors for me to start pushing, right? So at this point, it's about 8 hours into my laboring there, you know. So I had 15 minutes. The doctors actually call the nurses called the doctors at around 9 or 11:30. They were preparing, and I started pushing at 11:45 or like right around there, 11:40 something. My daughter was born at 11:57. I am in the morning. I am so grateful. My whole labor and delivery process lasted like 9.5 hours. 9.5. Maybe like less than that. From when I got up to when I delivered her, it was about 11 or 8.5 hours. Sorry, 8.5 hours. I pushed in 4 contractions. I listened to everything that my doctor said. I had asked him to prior. I was like, I had never met him too. Both of the doctors I hadn't met, they were really nice. I expressed things that I wish were different with my daughter's delivery. They were more than understanding, and they were so kind, and they listened to everything that I said. One of them was that I felt like I didn't get a moment after my daughter was born to appreciate and have that moment sink in. As soon as I delivered, they were giving her to me, and the doctor that I had was telling me, like, you need to push, you need to do this, you need to do that for my placenta. And I asked him, can I just have 30 seconds, even a minute, just to have that with her, so that I don't have to have this split focus. And I was focusing more on the doctor because he was telling me what to do rather than that. And that was something that is something that I carry with me, and it makes me sad, and it was hard at first. That was weird. And he's like, oh yeah, we can give you 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And I was like, no, I just need a minute. And he's like, no, we'll give you a lot more than that, don't worry. And I got this great moment with her and with Preston, and he got to watch her be born, and then he was able to cut the umbilical cord, and we just had a really long time with her. Preston was able to hold her at about 1:45, and just watching that was so special and so great. They really let me nurse her and do the skin to skin for a really long time before taking her to do any vitals. I think they did her initial vitals, her weight, really quickly. And they don't wash the baby or wipe the baby down until the next day at 24 hours. So just the whole thing was just such a great experience, and being in postpartum was awesome as well. I felt like we had so much time to spend together. We watched our shows, and we cuddled on the bed, and we just got to enjoy having our daughter. And it was just the whole thing was so special. It was so great. Yeah, it was great. Even if for me, my delivery with my daughter was really bad, but then you just still brought this baby into the world, and you still I did that, I'm so proud of myself, and I'm not oh, I'm bragging. I did that in 4 contractions, and I was so scared because my first delivery was so traumatizing. The whole experience, everything, it was traumatizing for my family, it was traumatizing for me. And I wish it was a lot better, because I just want to have a good memory of that for Logan, but it just was really hard. And if this was a hard delivery, I probably wouldn't want more kids, to be honest. But it was great. I can't I can't believe, I was in shock. I was looking at her, and I was I just did that. After my first contraction and I pushed, they could see her head, and it took me hours to get to that point with my daughter, with Logan. It was great. But yeah, that's our story. I will put a picture up. She's sleeping over there. I'm gonna get her in a second. Logan's coming home right now, so I get to just spend time with both of them. But yeah, thank you. I'm hoping to post a lot more videos. I don't know quite yet what I want this channel to be. I wanted it to just be me, right? I bake, I'm a gardener, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a entrepreneur. I'm trying. I want all of it, and I don't know if that's too confusing to people who just want to watch garden stuff. If I post more about baking, if they just want that, or if you're a mom, and I don't know. I just don't know what I want this channel to be. If it being me is good, and if it's a little bit of everything, maybe I can try to tie everything more into each other, balancing out all the things that I do and want to do. I don't know, but I hope that you stick here along for the journey. And if you want to share your birth story, or just little a couple sentences of just your experience, or I don't know, I would just love to hear all of it. But I really appreciate you watching this video. I will see you all later. Bye guys. Okay, I actually came back to bring you my Remy. Look at her. She wants a bottle, or she wants a boob, but she might get a bottle. I've been nursing her. Yes? I know. You want lemons too?
No, I like vitamins.
I love you. Okay,